Bible studies. Thanks for joining me today. I wanted to go over a few updates from, I was gonna do it in August, it's September, I'm so sorry. I'm a little frazzled right now. Most afternoons I go outside and I play spike ball with my son before he has football and baseball. It's just time for mother-son connection. So I'm a little sweaty right now. All that aside, I'm just grateful you're here. I want to go over today what's been working for us, kind of maybe some things we've not looped in yet. We are on week 3 of our homeschool of this year. So I have an 8th grader and I have a 3rd, 4th grader. And then I'm going to go over some new things that I did not cover in my summer curriculum videos. So if you guys have not seen those yet, those are going to be linked below. I have 3, here is what we're using for the 2023-24 year. Those links will be below for you. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about a little bit is like morning circle, morning time, what's been working. So first of all, both kids are old enough now to have their own planners, and it works out really well because then my daughter can go down and kind of check off the things that she's doing each day. So she gets to go through, although she checked a few of those. So, and then it's the same one that my son has, and obviously his is a little bit more full. See what else is working? Of course, desert creatures, simple studies. I honestly did not think my son would even be remotely interested in listening to this book. But each time I sit down and read aloud, more aimed at my daughter, my son will put down what he's working on and come join us. So that's been really delightful. And it's my brand new guide that I released earlier this summer. So the Ambleside Online Poetry, really quick, simple poems, biographies of each poet. We're doing Robert Frost right now. And it's just this simple anthology. I can link it below for you as well. I also have my shop linked as well. So the Amazon, where I buy everything. The Amazon, oh my goodness. This is from Simply Charlotte Mason. We're doing Giotto right now because we are studying the Middle Ages. And so Giotto is a natural fit for that. Beautiful stories from Shakespeare. We like to switch up our Shakespeare readings each year. Sometimes we do the full play, sometimes we do the stories from those plays, and sometimes the stories are easier for our 4th grader to connect with. Our 8th grader has read through many of the plays and he has his favorites, but this you can get through in like 10 or 15 minutes for one solid reading, and it's an entire play. So I feel like our time is limited these days. Let's see. Okay. I picked a brand new science, and some of you already probably know this. We tried Apologia, and my son he just didn't enjoy it. He just had a hard time anytime it was on his schedule to do. So I chose Science Shepherd this year, and I have to say that it's amazing. And my son is like excited every day to do science. Never before has this ever happened. So if your student is struggling with science, this is it's a Christian-based creation worldview. However, what I really enjoy is they actually present both sides of evolution and creationism, and then they hold them up to the light and they talk about the truth behind each one and scientific facts. This is life science. They have a lot of other guides, and even my son was like, Mom, they have other guides. We should get those. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this? Another amazing thing that my son has been studying first thing when he wakes up, he loves to do this besides math, is the most important thing that you'll ever study. He's been going through this and really enjoying it, and each time he does a lesson, he comes up and he talks to me about it. I cut them into smaller chunks for him to go through at a more feasible pace because we have a lot on our plate this year. So yeah, that's working really well, and I highly recommend those guides. He will also be taking an apologetics course that starts next week, and they read through the case for Christ. So that being said, that's his Bible studies. My daughter and I do a devotional, and then we are also reading through Acts as a family this year. The start of the church. Okay, some other things that are working. Since I'm talking about my son a little bit more right now, I always let them choose their novels each term. My son chose The Westing Game and Crispin, so going really well. And then he is also reading through the Narnia series for his writing class. We are doing Lost Tools of Writing. As many of you know, we signed up with the Alviary this year. I am following their guides for a couple subjects per child, and it's working really well. I really enjoy their guides. They're very straightforward. They offer, QR codes, to pull up images. So for example, when my daughter and I were reading through her citizenship this morning, Stories from the History of Rome, week 2, we pulled up the mural that was painted between Rome and Alba and the 3 brothers that fought each other. So 6 brothers, but 3 brothers from each side. She got to see the mural and we got to talk about the chapter together. When my son read through this, he did not have any of those visual aids. And I feel like it's a very robust Charlotte Mason approach with a little bit more hand holding so that you're not just scrambling and trying to, okay, so we read a chapter and we narrate, great. But then there were, I don't know, in my experience, it's hard to help our children connect to the stories without some type of a visual reference and or guidance from the mother with background knowledge that I may not have if just stored in my brain. So I'm very appreciative to Alviary for those, and I will go over another subject here in a second. Okay, another thing that's working is we're using Alviary for their literature, some of their literature. He's reading a lot of other books, so I can't fit everything that they want or that they recommend. But we are doing the King Arthur, and I know that I think I held up a different version of King Arthur in one of my past videos, and we're going with this one. So this one's by Andrew Lang, and if you've never read Andrew Lang, oh my goodness, guys, amazing. Yep, this is the one we went with and the one that Alviary recommends, and we're reading through it, and the guided lessons are just so helpful. Okay, my daughter is, I've gone in and out of Explode the Code, and I've gone over this in past videos. I have a love-hate relationship with this, but my daughter flies through these. She did a little review this year. We're moving on to 4. It's like when things click, oftentimes I feel like it's often like through those books, sometimes more than me sitting down and doing some huge lesson with her. She just likes to flip that open and roll with it. So, hey, I will go with that. And I know in one of my last videos, I said, what's everybody doing for geography? And my son is doing Alviary, and it's working really well. We're going through Children of the Dust Bowl, and then he'll be reading Death on the River of Doubt, which he loves presidents. So I am using geography through Alviary for him for his 8th grade year. But my daughter, I'm not going through the US geography that Alviary has for her age, because she literally went through the 50 states with Knotgrass last year. The Evan Moore, if you guys are familiar with Evan Moore, super simple. They are not a Christian-based company, so you have to filter a little bit, but the geography skills, sharpeners, and then the daily geography. And we look this in 2 or 3 times a week. No biggie, super simple, and they actually kind of connect, so each lesson kind of piggybacks off of each other so far that I've seen. I don't know if it continues like that. Other thing that's working is we are breaking on formal Greek, so my son enjoyed, he's literally like, this is so fun. Greek alphabet code cracker. That's great. That's awesome. I love it when my kids are just like thrilled to run downstairs and crack open a book. You can't go wrong with that. Citizenship for my son is Alviary as well. We're doing This Is Our Constitution right now. This has made for some really great discussions, and I highly recommend so far this book. And again, Alviary did a great job putting together those lessons. He is also doing their poetry guidance, and we are reading through What is Poetry by Michael Rosen. And you guys, after the first lesson, I wanted to read to you from his book that he sits down and he either writes, it's his commonplace book basically, but he wanted to record this quote that he said after the first lesson of our poetry with Alviary. Over my years of experience with poetry, I have learned that you will always have questions and they will almost never be answered. I have enjoyed, you guys, I said that we were not going to pick this up, and I picked it up because I wanted to use it for review for my daughter. Math with Confidence, number 3. I said I was going to move on to Saxon. I don't think we're quite there yet. I feel like in another 2 months we might be there. So she's flying through this, and it's basically review for her, and that is amazing. I love when we can build confidence in our children, and not every day needs to be this massive hill or mountain or struggle. I think it's really crucial sometimes that we help build that confidence for our kids before we dive into, before you just crush them and crush their spirits. Okay, so some things that are kind of working. I did pick up Brave Writer for this year. It's the 12 months, but we literally read 3 of the 12 books over the summer. So while it's been exciting to kind of dive into the grammar and the writing aspect behind each book that we've read, and again, I'm gonna go into some reading in another video. I don't really want to dive into this right here. It's kind of hit or miss, and I feel like there are a lot of other curriculum out there that really do well. So I'm still toying around with what's going to work for her in the long term for her writing curriculum. Picked this up kind of as a supplemental, and it's okay. It's okay. Like we went through the copy work and kind of went through like apostrophes and things like that, and I appreciate it, but it's a little all over the place. So trying to stay consistent and build on skills and then repeat those skills, I find that hard with Brave Writer. Some things that aren't working so well. It's just like our first read aloud of the year, and it's like, wah wah. Many of you guys probably love this book, The Door in the Wall. The last time we said we're halfway through, we're not gonna stop it, we're gonna keep reading. And I know I've always gotten comments from people like, don't, put the book down if nobody's enjoying it, and I agree with you. But I think there are some good lessons in this book, a lot of like empathy and compassion building before we move into our year. But that being said, we sat down the other day and my son was like, do you enjoy this book? And I was like, it's okay, it's okay. And my daughter's just like, meh, Other thing that is just okay, and I'm so sad to say this because I love this company, is Simply Charlotte Mason's Exploring What God Has Made. Granted, we are like 2 weeks into this, so maybe it gets better with time. But the books that that I gathered to read aloud to her aren't really speaking to her, so to speak. Wow, that's not what I meant to say. But she does her narrations in her science journal. I was excited to do this with her. She was excited to get down to work with her science lessons. But the thing that has resonated the most with her was the desert creatures and simple studies guide. So, I don't know, take what you want from that. The other thing is this. There is nothing wrong with this. I really appreciate this. I think the hard thing is if you don't have someone one-on-one with your students who can speak to them in Spanish. This book is like, a lesson takes 2 seconds, and for an independent learner, that's great. But I'm like, okay, well, do 2 lessons a day. And then he's like, done in 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, so let's maybe do 3. I feel like it's too easy for him right now, and that's okay. Again, building on confidence. It's all reading and writing. So for someone who's auditory or visual, I would not recommend this. Super simple to use, super great, and maybe if I pull this out for my daughter, it would be great. She started with Sing Song Spanish. She kind of rolls her eyes when we have to pull that out. So I don't know. I really just think we should our children in the presence of someone who speaks Spanish, but that's not always ideal. And okay, I think that was it for my August update. I hope you enjoyed it. Really hope you get a chance to watch the reading video that I have for you about the 3 top things that helped our youngest younger child learn how to read. I want to hear about how your guys' year is going. Are you enjoying it? I hope you all had a wonderful summer, by the way. And I'm sorry my videos are just so spaced out. I feel like I can rarely get to them, but they're a joy to put together for you guys, and I hope they're helpful, and thanks for watching. Bye.